It's your boy, the Ultimate Rage, coming back with yet another live here in the No Cap Zone, where we have a strict dress code. Now get the hell off with that capping ass bullshit. Let me update people, let them know I'm wrong. Let me provide people with the link. Yeah, I know I should have did this earlier. I'm still trying to get what up, what's up, my people? Molly, what up, what up, what up? I'm just letting the people know I'm live on Substack right now. Thank you for coming through. Happy Valentine's Day and whatever the fuck. Hope you found yourself somebody or have yourself somebody that you can celebrate with, cause I don't, but whatever. Oh shit. Yourself somebody that you can celebrate with, cause I don't, but whatever. Oh shit. Yo, I didn't know this shit. I can click on it like this. I need to find the link and so I can post it in the Discord. Post it. I. So, my fucking people, this I need to start doing it like this. I need to go live, post the link, and then share it in the Discord. So, let's get to it. Y'all know what it is. It's the No Cap Zone. We have a strict dress code. Knock it off with that capping shit. The only kind of cap that we allow around these parts is your thinking cap. Otherwise, move your goofy ass the hell around. Go the fuck somewhere, okay? You can scroll up, scroll down. I don't care. Just move around. You don't have to be here. Nobody's holding you hostage. Nobody is trapping you here. You are free to leave if you don't like what you are hearing from your boy. Because, see, me, all I care about are the facts, the truth, the data, the information, the statistics, the evidence, things that can actually be demonstrated in real life, like in real time. Like while we're alive and we're sane and of sound mind, because otherwise, I really don't know what the hell these goofies out here be talking about. And honestly, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, which is why me and you and all of us, we got to talk about it. So let's talk about it, all right? So, want to let you guys know, straight like this, the AI is very key to creating the future that we want. AI is not to be feared because AI is a tool like any other tool. Tools can be used to either help or they can be used to cause harm. It depends on the person who is wielding the tool, their intentions and their capabilities concerning their tool usage, which is why it's so important to ensure that we have a community of people who actually care about facts, truth, data, information, to ensure that people have really pure and honest intentions, that they actually care about truth and about accuracy and about being pro-social, contributing positively to society to help us improve and strengthen our social fabric. Because if we're not doing that, then what the fuck are we doing? Which is why on every live, I ask, what the fuck are we doing? What are our goals? What are our aims? What are we hoping to accomplish in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of reality? What are we hoping to accomplish? Because the problem is that as a society, we fail to have real conversations about this shit. Because a lot of people feel like they already know. They feel like they already figured it out. They feel like they already got all the answers. They think that the crazy shit that they be thinking about is what it should be, and we don't have real conversations about whether or not that makes sense, whether or not that actually truly helps us, and how, if it does help us, we can help you help us, help each other. AI is a tool that can be used to help us transform our society either for better or for worse, like any tool. So, if we want to use it to help us, first we have to understand what the fuck we're doing and why. And as many of you are aware, I always talk about the Kardashev scale. What up, Seth? What up? What up? Thank you for coming through, fam. Oh, you work at Substack, it appears. Or maybe you're just a guy on Substack. I don't know. But thank you for coming through though. Um, so the fact of the matter is we need to work to transform our society to one that prioritizes our collective health and wellness, that prioritizes our ability to survive and thrive, to become what I call a Kardashev type 1 civilization, a civilization that can master its planet, because this is how we can ensure not only that we can surpass any existential threats, but that we put ourselves in prime position to elevate and ascend as a human race so that we can reach our ultimate potential of mastering reality. We can't master our reality if we're like not alive to do it. It's kind of the point of, or should be the point of what we are all doing. That we shore up any existential threat, that we create a society that prioritizes our well-being and ensures that we can live harmoniously, peacefully, where we can work together interdependently with synergy towards our common goal of paying things forward to future generations so that instead of setting them up for failure, we can set them up for success. Because, the children, they're like sort of the future or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just fucking crazy. Maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Maybe I'm just some loony. Maybe I'm cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. But, it's just, in my crazy ass mind, it seems logical to create a world that is suitable for the youth and for future generations. We can't do that bullshitting around, allowing the powers that be, these influencers, the people that control the means of production, the people that control the media, to just gaslight us and spread disinformation on a constant basis, keeping us confused, keeping us divided, making it difficult for us to get on the same page, which is why whenever I do lives, I always say we got to take a step back and really look at reality as it is. We're supposed to be in what's called the information age. We got the internet, we got social media, we have all these mechanisms for trading information that should make it even more easier to access the information, to make it easier for us to trade information so that we can all be on the same page, so that we can all be educated about any and every issue that matters as of right now. But the opposite is true. Despite the fact that we have the internet, that we have Google, and that we have social media and all these devices, it seems like we're more divided than ever before. And it doesn't make sense. Because how can we have this access to information and yet we can be so divided? I'll tell you why. It's multi-pronged approaches for keeping us separated. It's by making the information hard to find, hiding it behind paywalls, or burying it on various news platforms, right? As an example, I talked about the story that came out while I was live on TikTok the other day, right? I mean, smack dab. Now check this. This is the type of shit we got to deal with. So the story, according to CBS News, which was posted on February 12th, right? 2 days ago, 5:15 p.m. Eastern, 4:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, about how the Brooklyn Diocese attempted to settle 1,100 open sex abuse cases after paying $100 million to survivors, right? So, fair enough. Damn, that's fucked up. But okay, this is just the reality of what we experience. But then here's the key. Here is the key. Let me see if this has changed at all. Of course not. Of course not. So, okay, here's the issue. You would think a story like that, $100 million spent as a result of decades of sexual abuse, that would be a top story, that would be a pretty important, I mean, that's a pretty significant number. 1,100 people, $100 million. That's a pretty significant amount of money, if you ask me. And that an organization can be responsible for such heinous crimes. You're talking about a criminal enterprise, that they've been committing these crimes for decades, and that these crimes have happened all across the world. This sounds like the worst criminal enterprise in the history of humanity. But see, here's the problem. Here's the problem. When you go to CBS News' front-facing website, when you go to CBSNews.com, right, the very front page, this is what you see as the top story. Trump insider Tom Barrack kept in contact with Epstein for years, foul show. Okay, that's an important story. But notice all these other stories that they talk about. Ain't none of that $100 million mentioned. Of course, you're going to see shit about Valentine's Day. Of course, you're going to see all this other goofy shit, all this other shit. But you don't see this $100 million settlement. Now, why am I making such a big deal about this $100 million settlement? Well, I kind of gave it away maybe 2 minutes ago, that there have been all kinds of settlements like this all across the country for the past several years. And yet this data is not being isn't being published on the front page. It's not being made a top story in the nation, in the world. Right? There are so many of these settlements that have been happening just within the last few years. Hell, just last year. We had multiple settlements for such huge amounts. And most people don't even know about it. Why is that? Maybe because 2/3 of the American population subscribe to this ideology. And so they work tirelessly, diligently, deliberately to protect this ideology at all costs. Which is why it gets so difficult to even talk about it. I literally just deleted my TikTok yesterday because I couldn't stand the bullshit, the dark patterns that I had experienced on there so hard. I could have, and I hate to sound like, a fucking salty, bitter, failed creator. But the fact of the matter is, I was able to build a considerable following on TikTok, discussing these topics, discussing these issues. Except that TikTok put the kibosh on my growth. On every live, I was able to grow 20 to 100 followers a pop, just discussing these topics, just discussing reality and how we could come together and work interdependently with synergy towards actually creating a well-functioning society for ourselves. But also discussing how the powers that be, the ones that are in office, the ones that control the means of production, the ones that control the media, the ones that are in the government, the ones that are in the White House, the ones that are in the Congress, that are in the Supreme Court, and the mayors and governors all over the country have failed miserably to address, let alone solve, any of these major problems, despite them having all the resources and the control and all the money. How is it these problems continuously persist? All these trillions of dollars are floating all around us, exchanging hands, but they're not being used to solve any of these problems that have existed since ancient times. We're talking about fucking rape, homelessness, hunger, the mental health and substance abuse crisis. Somehow, all these trillions of dollars are floating everywhere, but they're not being used to solve these problems. And the fact that you have these religious institutions that literally are sitting on literally billions of dollars, that if they weren't such extreme rapists, we wouldn't even know that they had so much money and that they're getting it tax-free. As I always ask, if they weren't being forced by our legal system to pay these exorbitant amounts of money, what the fuck would these institutions be doing with all this money that they have been hoarding and extracting from our communities for all this time? What would they be doing with this money? You mean to tell me, and see, this is one of the reasons why I talk about this shit, right? One of the most important reasons why I talk about it. I don't just do it because, oh, I'm salty, I'm bitter, I'm angry, I'm a frustrated man, and all this shit. I'm single, and I'm lonely, all this type of shit. According to the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, it is now 85 seconds to midnight. Right? Just a couple weeks ago, on January 27, 2026, the doomsday clock was set at 85 seconds to midnight, the closest the clock has ever been set to midnight in its history. The Bulletin of the Atomic Sciences Science and Security Board, which sets the clock, called for urgent action to limit nuclear arsenals, create international guidelines on the use of AI, and form multilateral agreements to address global biological threats, among many other things, right? This is basically highlighting that we are on the road to self-destruction. You would think this would be pretty significant news, that it would be so significant that every single major news publication would be discussing it, that all of these sci-fi fantasy fan clubs would be directly addressing it and coming together to figure out how we can reverse course and push away from midnight. But the opposite is true. They don't seem to give a fuck. I mean, yeah, sure, there might be a few major networks here or there that might have a post about it. You know, they might have covered it. But as I just showed you on CBS News' main site, you didn't see none of this shit. They had more about Nancy Guthrie's disappearance than the fact that we're on the cusp of self-destruction. Which goes to show you the dystopia that we live in right now is worse than the movies. It's worse than the movies. See, because at least in the movies, there's clear bullshit. There's some evil force that's doing all of the dirty work and then people are being subjected. But the problem is that even today, even those very people are part of the problem. Because they're literally enriching, enabling, and empowering the very motherfuckers, minor fuckers that are failing us, that consistently fail us. And when people like me address these issues, I get the kibosh. It sickens me to no end to know that when I was growing on TikTok, by now I could be a motherfucking superstar. I could be the Mr. Beast of TikTok. I could be the next KB Lane. But because I threatened the power structures, they did everything possible to shut me down. Right? I got banned on my original account. It took me a year to build up my backup account to gain the same following before I could go live again. Started going live and started going through the same dark patterns that I experienced, getting hit with all these violations. Even being told that I'm engaging in misinformation when I show the articles, when I show you the sources, when I show you the author and the date and the time and all that shit. I'm showing it to you. We're literally reading it together with the article on screen, and TikTok can tell you I'm engaging in misinformation. Meanwhile, Mr. Flat Earth over there got 150,000 followers and they never got shut down for misinformation one fucking time. And they ain't never demonstrated a flat earth in their motherfucking life. They have literally zero fucking method right now for demonstrating that the earth is flat at all. You can give them all the motherfucking money in the world. You can give them $1 trillion, bajillion, million dollars. They will never demonstrate a flat earth at all. It will never happen because there is no such thing as a flat earth. They have nothing. There are YouTubers that literally issue challenges to these minor fuckers. And they back the fuck out because they know that they're full of shit. If they can demonstrate that there's a flat earth, what the hell is stopping them? Why wouldn't TikTok help these fuckers demonstrate to us that the earth is flat if it was so fucking real and so fucking true? Or why isn't TikTok hitting those motherfuckers with misinformation? What up, soul? You would think that TikTok, which supposedly cares so much about truth, would encourage somebody like me, that they would promote somebody like me who is showing you the news, who is showing you current events from literally the most major mainstream news media organizations in the world. But the opposite is true. They promote the Charlie Kirkses, the minor fuckers that never demonstrate shit other than their extreme delusion. Promoting the same old ancient sci-fi fantasy nonsense that has failed miserably to help us in any tangible, meaningful way. If it was useful, then why are we 85 seconds to midnight when 2/3 of the American population subscribe to this ancient sci-fi fantasy horseshit? How could that be? You mean to tell me out of 200 million Americans that subscribe to Christianity, not one of them can figure out a solution to push us away from midnight? Literally, not one. Out of 200 million people. Out of 200 million people. In fact, do they even give a fuck? Tomorrow's Sunday, right? How many of these fucking sci-fi fantasy fan clubs are gonna even address this shit at they fucking meet up tomorrow? Or tonight, while we're at it, because you know some of them do Saturday night service. How many of them are going to talk about this 85 seconds to midnight shit? How many of them are going to put their brains together and say, hey, how do we push ourselves away from midnight? I'll give you a hit. Zero! Because they don't give a fuck. They care more about the next life than this one. It's a suicidal mindset. It's a suicidal ideology. It's a nihilistic ideology that does not care about the current welfare of the American population, let alone the world writ large. Because if they did, then how could we be 85 seconds to midnight? How could this possibly occur? Why wouldn't we be 85 light years to midnight? It doesn't even make any sense. If their ideology was so wonderful and so useful and so true, then why is it that not a single one of them can demonstrate the correctness of it to us? Not one time. And why is it that when I would get on TikTok doing the same shit, demanding, hey, if you got the truth, show us right now, I'm getting hit with all these violations every day. It's exactly why yesterday the straw broke the camel's back. I said, no, I'm off here. I am exclusively on Substack now. These hated ass goofies can kick rocks. Even though I got more fucking followers and I was making more money on fucking TikTok, it's not worth it. I'm literally on the verge of getting banned anyway, right? They make sure to remind me every single day, hey, warning, warning, warning. So that's why it's so important to me for us to have real discussions about what we are aiming to accomplish as a human race and as an American citizenry. Because at this point, we don't have real discussions. Everybody just bullshits each other and tells each other dumbass sci-fi fantasy nonsense. And at the end of the day, it doesn't help us to improve our collective quality of life, our collective well-being, our collective survivability. Existential threats aren't even a topic of discussion in the mainstream, right? Motherfuckers are still talking about the Super Bowl. Like that man said. Wow, the Seahawks won. A shitty ass game. Boring ass game, whack ass commercials, billions of dollars spent, and we're 85 seconds to midnight still. Still. You would think that all these corporations and all these rich motherfuckers and all these people that spent all their thousands of dollars to go to the Super Bowl, that they would give a fuck about, still living so that they can keep going to Super Bowls? So that we don't have to have these issues of 85 seconds to midnight? But no, these events exist to distract you from even knowing about this shit, which is why the mainstream doesn't even talk about it most of the time. It's not to say that they don't talk about it at all. It's not to say that they haven't covered it at all. But again, just like I showed you with the fucking Brooklyn settlement story, they bury the story. These stories are not front page news at the top of the list. As an example, right? When the government shutdown happened last year, the longest shutdown in America's history. Yeah, remember that? On the White House page, it had the banner at the top of the page that said government shutdown, Democrats responsible, whatever the fuck it said. It was a big banner at the top of the page letting you know that the government was shut down. Every time you went to the whitehouse.gov website, you would see that banner at the top of the page. In the same way, you would think that on all these different media platforms, that news that affects all of our lives and ability to survive, you would think that they would care so much that they would make it a top story. Because I look at it from even a selfish point of view. Even from a selfish point of view, you would think that these entities would care about our survival, because if we're not alive, how can they continue to exploit us? Like, even in the Matrix, the machines realized that, hey, we could, fucking keep these fuckers alive, these humans alive, so we can exploit them like that. We don't even have to use them for energy. And see, that's one of the things about the movie that I feel like Neil deGrasse Tyson got wrong. Because he talked about, what's up, Wiz? What's up, my boy? Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about, oh, you can't use people for energy. We only put out so many fucking votes or whatever the fuck he was talking about. But I think he missed the point. I think he missed the whole entire point of that. Because the whole point was, you're right. The machines can't get all that much out of us. But it wasn't about that. They didn't have to do that at all. They didn't have to keep people alive. If the machines were wanted to kill all the humans, if there was that much of a war, they could have just killed everybody. What he forgot to realize is that the machines still kept the people alive, because the machines still had love for people, because the people did kind of invent them. They didn't have to use people for energy, but it did to help preserve them. And this is a nice segue to another topic that I want to talk about. In fact, going back to what I was talking about earlier about AI being a tool. My top two favorite movies are The Matrix and Terminator 2. And I want to talk about how in Terminator 2, the Terminator himself, right? The Arnold Schwarzenegger T-800 represents a fascinating look at how tools can be used to either cause harm or to help us tremendously. That's what I think is the beauty of the Terminator series, at least before it went to fucking shit. But I digress. Like, the first two Terminator movies show you how a tool can be used to cause great damage and danger, and how it can also be used to greatly help and protect. The same tool. Mind you, the first Terminator movie was all about how a Terminator, the cybernetic fucking humanoid robot cyborg, was sent back in time to murder Sarah Connor because she would give birth to John Connor. You all know the story. This was an example of how a technology could be used to cause great harm and pose a danger or risk to society. On the flip side, Terminator 2 showed how instead of just destroying all the machines altogether, what did the humans do? They used that same tool to try to help us. Because in Terminator 2, John Connor was able to whatever you got, modify the T-800s to actually help protect him. And that's what the whole plot of the movie is about. It's such brilliant writing, because how do you fucking make a sequel to the first Terminator after everything that happened? You can just keep the same plot, just a new Terminator coming to kill Sarah Connor or whatever. And that technically still is because the T-1000, obviously. But the point is, the same fucking tool, the same T-800 was modified. Oh, instead of going to kill John, it's going to go protect John. Which goes to show you how you should not fear AI. People want you to think about the Skynet mentality, like, oh, AI is going to fucking completely destroy us all and kill us all and all this type of shit. Perhaps. That's one possible scenario that could happen. And as a matter of fact, I think that the way we're going and be 85 seconds to midnight, it's a very big possibility. But see, here's my thing. It doesn't have to be that outcome. It can be the better outcome, which is actually what we are working to do here at OD9, which is why I need you to go to off9.com. The link is available on the page because we're literally in the midst. We are in the midst of building the infrastructure that will utilize AI to help transform the world, which is why I'm talking about this. Because the whole point is, so many people fear AI, and I get it, but it drives me mad. People have been reading too many fucking articles. People have been writing too many articles, bullshit, and talking about, oh, AI is scary and it's going to terrify the world. And all these people are leaving AI companies because they fear the AI is going to have these detrimental effects to society and blah, 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 blah. But here's my issue with all of this hoopla. As somebody who uses AI every single fucking day, first of all, you shouldn't fear intelligent AI. You should want it. Because stupidity is evil. That's one of my main mantras. Stupidity is evil. Half the time you see these goofies, these loonies out here committing these horrific acts, what do they always say? Man, I was just being dumb. I wasn't thinking. I was just, I don't know. I was so stupid. How could I be so stupid? Yes, stupid is and stupid does, and stupid usually turns out to be a lot of evil ass fucking shit. As the old adage goes, the road to hell was paved on good intentions. You might have meant well, but you were stupid as fuck. You were horrible in your decision making. In the same way, AI being suboptimal can cause great harm. Or AI being controlled by some evil corporation that wants to use AI to fuck us over and subjugate us. Yeah, that would be fucked up. But again, it doesn't have to be that way. We can actually change things so that AI works in our favor, that it works to help us create the society that we want, that will actually prioritize our collective well-being, that will prioritize our ability to survive and thrive so that we can actually reach our potential, becoming a Kardashev Type 1 civilization and beyond, ultimately becoming the Kardashev Omega civilization, where we have mastered our total reality, whatever that means, whether we're a fucking simulation, multiverse of many worlds, an E8 lattice, a bunch of strings, or whatever this reality, whatever the cosmos consists of, we can actually figure it out. We can actually figure it out, completely understand it, and then modify it to our collective benefit. where we can be spreading out through space, seeding life everywhere, and cataloging all these celestial entities, these stars, these moons, these planets, these asteroids, and whatever the fuck else is out there. And who knows, maybe we can find other life forms out there. The point is, we're not gonna do it bullshitting ourselves and each other with ancient sci-fi fantasy fucking nonsense and all kinds of goofy ass bullshit. AI is supposed to help us be able to sift through the bullshit so that we can figure out what exactly is true. Like, if we aren't working to understand reality and how we can shape it and mold it for our benefit, then what the fuck is the point of anything? Why is it so difficult for us to get on the same page when we have all this information available? It becomes difficult as of one reason, what I call hypercapitalism. Hypercapitalism is the real problem. Because this is the thing, capitalism is basically a virus. What does a virus do? It affects the host, and it utilizes everything. It siphons off all the life energy of the host until what? The host dies. And then the virus dies itself. Either it dies or it transfers to another host to repeat the process. But ultimately, it dies. And that's what viruses do. They use and use and use and use and use till they can't anymore. Even if, like, killing the host will kill it, they don't care. They don't have any actual fucking hindrances. They don't have any guardrails against, well, what if we utilize everything until there's nothing left? And that's exactly what the unlimited growth model is. The unlimited growth model for corporations, mind you, the goal of corporations is to maximize shareholder profit. So what's the end goal? There is no end goal. At least not one that they set. So basically, the actual end goal of businesses is death. That's the end goal, death. There's no actual goal. There's no actual, like, mission that they're really trying to achieve. The only goal is more money, more profits, more money, more profits. Even if it means killing everybody, including themselves, which is why capitalism is ultimately suicidal and is ultimately unsustainable, untenable. That's how we got to the 85 seconds to midnight. Because you gotta look at it like this, right? In a capitalist society, you create a dog-eat-dog world. Everybody's looking for self. Everybody's individualistic. So when you have a society like that, you have a chaotic society. And when you have a bunch of people living in fucking La La Land, it makes people unpredictable as hell. So the problem is you get these ideologies, right? These sci-fi fantasy lunacy ideologies that literally directly benefit by keeping people ignorant as fuck, willfully ignorant, unwilling to learn new data, new information, new statistics, new data points, nothing. You keep them trapped and subscribing to this ancient sci-fi fantasy ideology. You keep them not giving a fuck about the actual state of affairs. You keep people super duper happy, fake happy, by ignoring all the problems in the world, despite everything that's right in front of our faces, right? All these stories that we see on a daily basis, even though we see, the Constitution getting constantly trampled all over each election cycle by each administration, let's ignore that. Let's just tell ourselves that everything is perfect and hunky-dory, and let's not worry about, any individuals. Let's not worry about solving any major world problems because, hey, we're going to go to super-duper happy-go-lucky land in the next life anyway, so who cares? Just try to keep your head down, be a good person, whatever the fuck that means, and serve the Lord, whatever the fuck that means. We talk about all these different things because what the hell? How is this helping us? How is this helping us improve our lives? How is this helping us improve our society? How is this helping us reach our goals? In fact, what are our goals? What are the goals that we're hoping to accomplish? See, one of the reasons why these Epstein files have become such a big topic is because we see that all these high profile, super wealthy, super rich, highly respected individuals are not that respectable. In fact, a lot of them are kind of pieces of shit. And one of the problems with capitalism is that it completely warps people's views of everything. We have a society where if you own a lot of capital, you're considered a good person, a great person, because you've been able to amass high amounts of capital, regardless of your actual character, regardless of how you actually impact the world. That's why we live in this dystopia where one person can own more wealth than multiple whole countries, and yet hundreds of millions of people can, matter of fact, 100 million people can have some form of medical debt. In a country where we spend literally the most on healthcare and don't get the best healthcare outcomes, despite supposedly being the greatest country in the world. That's why I say all the time, the United States of America is the scam capital, the capital of the fucking world. We're actually the divided states of corporations. Because we're 85 seconds to midnight. All these multinational, multi-billion-dollar corporations that have all these resources, have all this wealth, right? I mean, we were just looking at CBS News' fucking fiscal data from the fiscal quarter of 2025, June 2025. They raked in something like $8 billion, and they were like, damn, we're doing bad. We only made $8 billion for this fiscal quarter. Fuck. That's the kind of society we live in, where a corporation can make $8 billion and that's considered a bad quarter. Only $8 billion. But we're 85 seconds to midnight. But what the fuck is that? But here's the thing that's crazy, right? I demonstrated on TikTok that talking about this type of shit leads to actual views and ratings. Like that's how I started building my fucking platform. That's why I do these lives. Because I was able to demonstrate to myself that literally talking about the truth, talking about the facts is actually lucrative. People actually want that. But see, when your business model depends on people being ignorant and just straight up wrong about shit, you don't want that. Especially if you're a media company that thrives off of yellow journalism. I know, right? Only $8 billion for the quarter. Not even for the year. For the quarter. For the fiscal quarter of June 2025, $8 billion, fam. And they're like, that was a bad quarter. We're doing bad. Like, that's markedly less than what we got in the previous years. They consider $8 billion like, damn, I'm broke as fuck. I only got $8 billion. Shit. I can't even fill up the gas in my plane with that shit. But we're 85 seconds to midnight, though. 85 seconds to midnight. Like, the detachment of these kinds of corporations, of these entities, right? Like the fact that CBS News got more front page news coverage of fucking Nancy Guthrie. Now, I'm not saying I got anything personal against Nancy Guthrie, but honestly, fuck Nancy Guthrie. Fuck Nancy Guthrie. How the fuck is Nancy Guthrie more important than our literal collective fucking-vival? You know, that really sucks about Nancy Guthrie. That's really quite unfortunate, but people go missing every fucking day. Every day. People get kidnapped every fucking day. People never get found every day. We got fucking unsolved mysteries since literally unsolved mysteries. But they want to cover this fucking Nancy Guthrie character because Savannah Guthrie is fucking famous. Because she's a fucking NBC News anchor, whatever fucking platform she works for. So that matters more than all the rest of us. What kind of fucking society cares more about one fucking person who has never affected any of our lives than the news that literally affects all of our lives? Like being 85 seconds to midnight is a pretty fucking big deal. Like, having all these existential threats looming over us should be a major problem. This is one of the reasons why, for those of you who are unaware, this is one of the reasons why I talk about what's called the Great Filter Hypothesis, which stems from the Fermi Paradox. Basically, where are the fucking aliens? We got all this technology where we should be able to see all these alien spaceships and fucking super mega structures out there in space, but we don't see shit. At least nothing that's clear-cut concrete. You would think that with these astronomical numbers of galaxies, stars, and planets, that we would see clear-cut evidence, that we would see spaceships flying around all kinds of megastructures, clear signs of things that aren't natural to fucking the universe. But we don't. And the question is why? Why don't we see clear-cut concrete signs of aliens out there? We got the fucking James Webb Space Telescope at the L2 Lagrange point, discovering some of the oldest galaxies that have never been seen before in human history. You got the Hubble Space Telescope that's been in orbit, in Earth's orbit, for over 30 years, almost 40 years. And yet, we have no clear-cut, smoking gun, like, boom, alien evidence at all. And so the question becomes why? Why have we not found any of these aliens? And so one of the potential solutions to this Fermi paradox is what's called the Great Filter Hypothesis. The idea that all these fucking civilizations could be out there just like us, dealing with the same fucking existential problems, but for whatever reason, they failed. They failed to account for these existential threats, and the existential threats take them the fuck up out of here before they can reach their potential of becoming spacefaring species that can master the universe and master reality. And judging by the current state of affairs, it seems like this is par for the course. It might explain why we don't see super fucking advanced civilizations. That's why the only time we see them is in fucking movies and TV shows. People want to believe that these aliens exist so bad. There's all these reports of sightings and UAPs, UFOs. Oh, what was that beam of light in the sky? It must be an alien. It was a beam of light. It was moving weird, this light. But people don't have anything better than this weird light that I saw. And the sad part about that is that that light could be any form of fucking phenomena that we just don't understand. So wouldn't it be better for us to try to understand what the fuck is going on than just say, well, it must be the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ just saying whatever the fuck? Because how do we actually understand anything that's going on if we don't try? And so many people refuse to even attempt to do the work to try to understand what's going on around us, to understand these phenomena that we see that occur on a constant basis. If we don't actually do the work to understand it, then what the fuck are we doing? What can we ever hope to accomplish? So there's this concept called the Great Filter Hypothesis. The idea that we just allow ourselves to get destroyed from various different reasons, right? Whether it's basically like some kind of biological fucking virus that gets let loose. You know, like the COVID shit that happened? Yeah, like COVID, but super COVID. Like it just takes us all the fuck up out of here. You know, like all these movies that we see. Or maybe an asteroidal impact or some kind of super volcanic eruption. Or maybe mutually assured destruction. You know, nuclear exchanges fucking up the fucking everything, and we're fucking all dead from radiation poisoning and all that fucking shit. Or what I like to call the eschatological great filter scenario. The idea that people get so obsessed with end times theology that they literally work tirelessly to manifest the end times because they want to prove their fucking theology. They want to prove their prophecy was correct. So they'll fuck up everything so that they can prove that Revelations was true. Because they want to believe their sci-fi fantasy lunacy that much that they will kill us all so they can prove that it's true. That's why I always get on here and say, okay, how about this? Why don't you just show us your shit is true right now? If there's the supernatural super entity, the supernatural super intelligence thing that you claim is so this and so that and so powerful, so all this shit, why don't you show us right now? Show us that your ideology is literally true. I mean, we got people in the White House, in the Congress, in the Supreme Court, in damn near every fucking government position, in every single possible sector of the population. I mean, literally 2/3 of the American population subscribe to some form of Christianity, and yet we're 85 seconds to midnight. You would think if 200 million people wanted to ensure that we survive, they can work together and make it happen. So why aren't they doing it? Or why are they failing? Are they even trying? And if they are, why are they such miserable failures? Why do we keep getting, because last year we were 90 seconds to midnight. Now it's 85. So we're going in the wrong direction. So why are we going in the wrong direction? Why do we keep inching closer and closer and closer to midnight instead of pushing further and further and further away from midnight? And why aren't these conversations happening on a major scale? Why aren't they being talked about in the mainstream? Why is it so difficult for us to create a well-functioning society for ourselves? Why are the powers that be doing everything possible to prevent us from having this conversation on such a larger scale? Why aren't all of the fucking major fucking influencers talking about it? Why aren't the biggest celebrities talking about it? Why aren't the government entities, the government bodies, the government officials, the people whose job, the people whose jobs it was to like help us create a well-functioning society, why aren't they talking about it? You would think that this would be the biggest issue, the biggest matter of national security, right? Wouldn't the military make this a top priority? Then why don't they? Why don't they? Because if we all die, then the nation is not secure. If we're getting into it with Russia because, we don't like the way you fucking cut your hair over there, now we gotta have a nuclear exchange. Well, that would fuck up national security like a motherfucker. If motherfucking some goddamn asteroid is hurtling towards Earth, and we find out, it's gonna come through in about 30 years, and we just say, well, I guess we'll just brace for impact, that would be stupid as fuck. Because we saw what it did to the dinosaurs like 100 million years ago. Why the fuck would we want to go through that? What's the point of all of this fucking technology and all of this fucking innovation if we're not gonna use it to help us, to protect us, to empower us? What the fuck is the point of technology if it's not helping us? Isn't the goal of a tool to help make our lives easier? You create shovels because it makes it easier for you to fucking dig, for you to shovel shit. It would really suck to have to do it with your hands, to try to literally move snow out the road with your bare hands. Oh, you got gloves. Okay, so you got gloves. Now you got to shovel with your gloved hands. No, you get a shovel so you can fucking shovel the shit. You can fucking move even more shit more efficiently because you have this tool. Or you can use the tool, the same shovel, to whack somebody upside the head like the old dude in Home Alone. This is exactly the type of shit I'm talking about. So bringing it back to AI. AI can be the tool to help us shore all of this shit up. For us to solve the problem of hyper capitalism, aka end stage, aka late stage capitalism. And what I call this hyper-capitalist, plutocratic, oligarchical, kakistocratic, kleptocratic, gerontocratic, theocratic, idiocratic, craziocratic, techno-feudalist corporatocracy. In plain English, this nation that's run by a bunch of rich, old, greedy, unqualified, nonsensical, thieving-ass, conniving-ass, stupid-ass Jesus freaks who don't know shit about fuck. Other than being bitch-ass simps for the rich, the banks, the corporations, and the churches, constantly using our tax dollars for everything but actually helping us improve our collective quality of life. And then using technology to gaslight us like, oh, everything is truly, perfectly, wonderfully hunky-dory. Despite all the data showing the contrary, despite the fact that we're 85 seconds to midnight. No, look at the Super Bowl. Yeah. Valentine's Day is today. Hey, go get your loved ones some flowers and take them out on a date and consume. Never mind this 85 seconds to midnight shit. Don't even worry about that. Just continue consuming so we can make more and more and more money so we can contain or control over your ass. We can't continue to allow them to engage in this behavior. We can't continue to allow the powers that be to continuously exploit us. Yes, the way things are going, yeah, AI can be used to subjugate us and fuck us over even more than ever before. But that's why we as people have to get on the same page and unite. But in order to do that, first we got to get real about reality. We got to have some really uncomfortable conversations about our reality. And I know a lot of people really don't want to hear the shit. That's why they shield themselves from this real shit. That's why they hang out in their bullshit ass echo chambers and tell each other, repeating to each other, ancient sci-fi fantasy fucking nonsense that doesn't help shit. Things that don't help prevent birth defects, that don't figure out how to solve major problems, solve coordination problems of various kinds that prevent us from having a truly peaceful and well-functioning society for ourselves. I talk all the time about how on the Global Peace Index, which ranks 163 countries in the world, based on their level of peace, with number 1 being the most peaceful and number 163 being the least peaceful, the greatest country in the world, the United States, ranks 128 out of 163 countries. And I don't know if you know this, but that's failing. That's miserably failing. Like, you're not even in the top 100. But you call yourself the greatest country in the world. How delusional could you possibly be? How narcissistic can you possibly be? How fucking stupid and retarded can you possibly be? Something gotta be wrong with your fucking mind to think that number 128 is the equivalent of being number 1. That's like you were just in the fucking NASCAR. You came in like 5 spots from last, and you celebrating like you just won the whole damn thing. What the fuck is that? You in the Winter Olympics. You ain't even in the top 10. And you're, woo-hoo. It's like that fucking meme where it shows like the fucking arrogant, like goofy American celebrating on the fucking podium like they just won a gold medal, and then you see like the zoomed out photo and they're like all the way at the bottom cheering like they just accomplished. That's us right now. That's us right now. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. But the point is, why would we want to celebrate failure? Why would we want to celebrate sucking? Why would we want to be happy that we are miserable failures? I thought we celebrated American exceptionalism. Yeah, we're exceptional failures. Why would we want to be exceptional failures? Why? Why? Why would we want to celebrate losing? Why would we want to be happy that all these different fucking countries are doing so much better than us? This is the meme I'm talking about. This shit. We celebrating like we accomplished so much and we at the damn bottom. The hell kind of shit is that? How we gonna sit and act like, yeah, being damn near at the fucking bottom? That's totally winning, guys. We're doing so fantastic. It's disgusting how we've become a community, how we've become a society, a country that literally celebrates being miserable fucking failures, right? And for those of you who might not know what the hell I'm talking about, this is what the fuck I'm talking about. This is Vision of Humanity, visionofhumanity.org, which hosts the Global Peace Index, right? And here's America. 128 out of 163 countries on the Global Peace Index, fam. Bangladesh is ahead of us. Look at all these countries that are ahead of us. Iceland is number 1. This is the top 5. Austria and Switzerland are tied for 5. 4 and 5. 4 and 5. And we ain't even in the top 100. Why are we happy about that? Why are we celebrating that? Like we're the greatest in the world. All these bullshit ass commercials, all these billions and trillions of dollars exchanging hands, and we're 128 on the Global Peace Index. Why would we want to be happy about failing so hard? Why? Why would we want to be happy about doing a shitty job, helping people, helping society? Why? This is my thing. If we want to exemplify being the greatest country in the world, we got to step up our standards. We got to decide that we want better for ourselves, that this is not the best we can do, that this is suboptimal as fuck. And if we want to actually prove that America is exceptional, we should be number 1. Fuck out of here with this shit. We're so pathetic, we can't even get over motherfucking Bangladesh, fam. We can't get over Bangladesh. We can't get over all these countries. We suck so fucking bad. I mean, so motherfucking bad that fucking Liberia's ahead of us, that the Dominican Republic is ahead of us, that Morocco is ahead of us, that China, those evil Chinese bastards, those evil fucking communists. Yeah, they're ahead of us, way ahead of us, right? They're in the top 100. They might be 98, but 98 is better than 128. I don't know if you know that. But yeah, it's better than that. So the fact of the matter is, how can we sit here and talk about being the greatest country in the world if on so many different metrics we fucking suck? And then, why do we have all these loonies around us that if you present this data to them, they'll be like, well, if you don't like it, you can get out. Or all these people will come on here and be like, well, why don't you just leave? You should go somewhere. No. Running away does not solve the fucking problem. And people need to get it through their fucking heads that running away don't solve shit. It doesn't solve anything. The solution is we got to actually work together interdependently with synergy, that we need to come together and recognize that ain't no supernatural super intelligence coming to save us. Ain't no magical fucking Bible verse gonna fucking save shit. That saying, please, Lord Jesus, please, Lord Jesus, please, Lord Jesus, that doesn't work either. Because if that did work, I'm pretty sure Nancy Guthrie would have been found by now, considering the fact that Savannah and Nancy are super duper Christy Christians, and all the people that are wishing them to come home, I'm pretty sure they're super duper Christy Christians too. Praying to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, please, please, Lord Jesus, please, we can find. I'm pretty sure that that if they didn't have the FBI working on it, they would be feeling even worse about the situation. I'm pretty sure that if they really took their own advice and decided to let go and let God, nothing would fucking happen. Nothing. So the fact of the matter is that I am building the infrastructure to transform all of this shit. I wrote the book on it, and I'm building the infrastructure to show you why AI is not to be feared. That when it's in the right hands, it can be used for the greatest possible purpose you could ever think of actually addressing and shoring up these coordination failures once and for all. That in order for it to happen, we as people need to come together and work interdependently with synergy. We need to acknowledge the fact that we don't know everything. That all these ancient sci-fi fantasy fan club members, they pretend like they got the answer. Their answer is false. Wrong. Ain't no supernatural triune trinity triforce thing. We ask them every day to show us that this thing really is truly real, and it don't work. They can't figure out how to open the Trinity GPT app. They can't figure out how to actually download the program. They don't even know where the program is at. We ask them every day, hey, how do we find the Father, Son, Holy Spirit app? Well, have you tried to pray? Have you tried prayer? Whoa. How about if you look in the Bible? You should read the Bible. As if I ain't never read the Bible before. Isn't it funny how they always have vague answers, but they never have anything specific that they can demonstrate to actually like justify their bullshit ass garbage? That you have all these, I mean, the president, the vice president, the secretary of state, the whole, damn near the whole of Congress, 90% of Republicans, 80% of Democrats in Congress, and damn near the whole Supreme Court. All these Christy Christians that don't know what the hell we're doing. 128 on the Global Peace Index. We're 85 seconds to midnight. We got all these social problems. I mean, there's so many fucking metrics and data points that I could just throw at you. The fact of the matter is that all of these entities, these government officials, all these rich people, all these super duper famous celebrities, all these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful influencers with their garbage ass content, they have all failed. Every last damn one of them. Ain't none of them talking about this shit. Ain't none of them coming up with any real solutions to this shit. They got all these charities, all these 501c3s that do what? That accomplish what? We're 85 seconds to midnight, so they must not be accomplishing much of shit. Just hoarding more resources. All the money going to administration as usual. Not really accomplishing much of anything. This is embarrassing. I am literally embarrassed to be in America. To be an American. Like everybody outside of America looks at us like we are crazy as fuck. Like, they literally are looking at us in horror, like, what the fuck are these loonies over there fucking doing? And so many among us don't seem to even realize the loony shit that's around us at all times. because they shield themselves from even being aware of the shit. They shield themselves from the knowledge. That's why they go to their echo chambers, so they can tell it themselves and each other. No, everything's perfectly hunky-dory. Everything's perfectly perfect. Let's not worry about any of these problems. Oh, a mass shooting happened? Well, thoughts and prayers. Anyway, things are so super duper perfect. Oh, another mass shooting? Okay, thoughts and prayers. So everything's super duper perfect, though. The Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Oh, shit. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. At what point are we going to recognize thoughts and prayers don't accomplish shit? That if we want a better future for ourselves, we're going to have to create it ourselves. We have to create the future that we want. Because look, it don't matter how many of y'all complain about AI. It's here, and it's only getting fucking better. It's only gaining more capabilities, and it's rapidly accelerating in its abilities and capabilities. People are not ready for how this shit is about to affect our population. The massive amounts of job loss that are happening. I showed this article yesterday, but I'll show it again. Check this out. This is according to Business Insider. Microsoft AI CEO predicts most, if not all, white-collar tasks will be automated by AI within 18 months. Okay, so think about if that's white-collar motherfuckers, think about your blue-collar ass. What the fuck you gonna get? Microsoft AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman says AI will reach human-level performance in white-collar work. He predicts most tasks in that field can be automated within the next 12 to 18 months. Several leaders in the AI industry have warned of impending mass job replacement. Okay? So this is the reality that we're in. I don't care what the fuck you thought you was doing, what the hell you thought you was finna do, but that shit finna go bye-bye in a not that long of a future. So we need to prepare ourselves for a future where jobs are gonna be even more difficult to come by. Thankfully for y'all, because I couldn't find a job, I had to find another way. And that's this infrastructure that I'm building, this progression system that I am literally working on as we speak. Right? And you can find more information about it on off9.com. Basically, the fact of the matter is things are about to change greatly. Things are about to get very, very strange because the technology is going to take automation to the highest levels. Lots of people gonna be losing their jobs. We already seeing all kinds of job losses, right? We done seen companies like Microsoft cut hella jobs. All these big fucking institutions cutting hella jobs. Because why the fuck would they have to pay your crazy, greedy ass when they can just automate your task with the fucking AI chatbot? Why would they want to pay you? For what? Oh, they got to deal with somebody who got to take bathroom breaks, who's going to want to take a vacation, who's going to want to take a sick day, who ain't going to come in on their day off when we need extra. Yeah. Why would they want to deal with that? When they could just pay their fucking monthly fucking AI service fee and have a bunch of AIs working autonomously day and night and day, 24/7. Oh, you thought you was gonna be a super duper banker? Fuck out of here with that shit. Why would I pay your ass to be a banker when I could just use the bank app? The fuck you thought was finna happen? Oh, you thought you was gonna be a fucking a carpenter. You thought you was gonna be a customer service agent. But we got robots and fucking chat bots that can do that now. You got robots that can do backflips and cartwheels now. Think about when they get that shit to the highest level. You know, hell, you think you're gonna be a military personnel? Why would we fucking have to train you when we could just use these motherfucking Terminators over here? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why We got to fucking get our communities together. We got to get our society together to recognize, look, man, with capitalism, they don't give a fuck about you. They use you. And the moment they don't need you no more, what they do? Throw you to the fucking wolves. Kick you the fuck out the club. They don't give a fuck. They were using you because they didn't have a choice. But now that they have a choice, why the fuck would they continue to use you? I can pay a motherfucking robot chatbot that can do what you do 12 times better, faster, and work all day, all night, every day, every night. And all we gotta do is just maintenance here and there. Meanwhile, you can't be dependable. You coming in late, you leaving early, you ain't coming in on your day off, you fucking slacking off, you on your phone all day, you surfing weird websites when you should be working, you pretend like you working, you don't be doing shit. Why the fuck would I pay you 60, 70, 80, 90K a year for that? The fuck? So, that's why we need to create the infrastructure that's going to transform how we go about doing things. Because ultimately, the singularity is coming. Things are about to change beyond what anybody ever imagined. Yeah, sure. You might say, well, what are you talking about? You only got 5 viewers, and they ain't even 5. It's probably like 2 people watching. It's just 5 people total that came in here. People probably came in for 2 seconds and then left, and the number don't change. So what the fuck would you know about this shit? But as I stated before, I already demonstrated how lucrative telling the truth can be. I already demonstrated that people actually do care, as crazy as it sounds. People do care. They just need something to do. They just need an actual infrastructure for how they can contribute positively to society. Because right now, all they get told is that, oh, fucking, you know, it's just nothing you can do. It's the end is nigh. The world gonna end and all this crazy shit. There's nothing that can be done. They love to be on this doomsday, doom scroll type shit. And I get it. But ultimately, as down as I could get, ultimately I'm an optimist. Because I know for a fact that humanity is capable of a great deal. The fact that we made it here to this point is honestly unbelievable. All the times that we threatened ourselves, that we came this close to fucking shit up. Before I was even a thought in my dad's ball sack. And yet, we're still here. And we're still able to think straight. At least those of us who are here on the right track, we have the ability to have these conversations. We have the ability to coordinate, to communicate, to cooperate, to collaborate. So why not do that? Starting right now. So we can work interdependently with synergy to create the type of future that we want. Where we can literally master our planet, where we can figure out the laws of physics and understand how different phenomena work, and then utilize that phenomena to our benefit, creating new technologies, creating new methodologies for improving things, for controlling things, from actually like being hyper efficient societies and communities that work together interdependently with synergy to create a well-functioning society, to actually improve our environment to where the fucking food, the soil, the air, the water quality is literally perfect. And we're constantly improving, where we can literally extend our lifespans, where we can improve our collective health quality, where we can remove diseases from the human gene pool, where we can literally help people who have all kinds of birth defects and biological problems literally get fixed and not only become healthy, they'll become super healthy, where we can become superhumans, where we can literally enhance our physical and cognitive capabilities, where we can become the super duper superhuman android, super cyborg motherfuckers that we've only talked about in motherfucking media and movies and TV shows and cartoons and comic books and shit. Why would we want to do that in real life? Why wouldn't I want to be like Cable in real life? Oh, you still here? Cool. Why wouldn't we want to be superhuman right now? Look at all these innovations that happen. Look at all this genetic modification, the fucking stem cell research and, all these fucking nanotechnologies. There's so many innovations, quantum computing. They're happening right now. They're constantly getting improved. So why don't we utilize this shit for our benefit as we speak? Why leave it to the corporations who have failed miserably to even create a basic baseline of decency for us? That constantly put us in these compromising positions where we have to choose between fucking paying the rent and buying food and shit like that. You mean to tell me that we can't coordinate more efficiently than this? That we have to allow these whole ass corporations to engage in these dark patterns on a constant basis? Where they engage in things like planned obsolescence, where fucking they'll just, perfectly working technology, they'll just degrade the shit, deprecate the shit, so it don't work, so that they force you to have to buy a new product because they have to maximize their shareholder profit. Well, oh, you got a phone from 5 years ago? Well, it's not gonna work no more. You gotta get a new phone. Sorry, bro. Yeah, we're not supporting that fucking architecture anymore. You got to get the super new one. We need another $1,000. Yeah, we need another fucking stack. Even though your current phone can still do the same shit that this new phone do, but we just don't want you to keep using that one. We want you to spend more money so that we can have more money. So that you can have a new device that can do the same fucking shit that your old device do. The camera quality ain't that much better. Ain't really that many more features. Like, at this point, everything around us is artificial as fucking. It doesn't make any sense. We have the capability to do so much better for ourselves, and we're just failing because the powers that be have benefited greatly from our suffering, and they will continue to allow us to suffer, to keep worsening the situation as long as they get their own, because they're fucking viruses. This is the result of hypercapitalism. The only end result is death. That's why we're 85 seconds to midnight. That's why these corporations don't give a fuck. That's why they don't talk about it. That's why these media companies don't talk about it. That's why these fucking super famous actors and actresses and singer-songwriters and dancers and performers don't talk about it at all. That's why the government, whose jobs it is to protect national security, don't talk about it at all. Because if they gave a fuck about national security, they'd have been talking about this shit. They'd have been addressed this shit. They'd have been solved this shit. The problem would be solved, and I wouldn't even have to do these fucking lies because they'd be solving the problem. I wouldn't be so fucking mad at TikTok for their constant sabotage of my ability to grow. Because why would I even need to even do TikTok lives if TikTok, billion-dollar companies like TikTok were making this a priority on their platform? Because all these companies, all these media organizations, all these rich people, all these individuals, all these enforcers, they have the ability to do all this shit. They have way better means than me to do all this shit. If they wanted to do this shit, what the fuck is stopping them? What is literally stopping them? They got all the money. They got all the resources. They got all the reach. They do all these projects. They engage in all this bullshit. They be at all these award shows, win all these awards, motherfuckers talking about all this movie, the greatest movie in the world, all this new video game, the greatest game in the fucking world, all this new fucking TV show, all this so groundbreaking, and then we're 85 seconds to midnight. How the fuck is this weak-ass TV show groundbreaking and it ain't just in 85 seconds to midnight? As far as I'm concerned, ain't nothing groundbreaking if it ain't talking about real shit. Real shit. I'm not talking about this show about a hospital where old people have all these fucking different conditions and every fucking show they're working the same. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm talking about the 85 seconds to midnight shit. I'm talking about the fact that all these fucking churches are fucking raping kids all over the fucking place, and how we talk about it every single day and don't nobody seem to give a fuck, and how despite the fact that all these major news media organizations cover the shit, they don't actually promote the shit. They don't actually publicize the shit. They don't make it a big fucking topic of discussion. So we got to do it. We got to be the ones to solve their problems. We have to fucking save them from themselves. Because, like I said about viruses, viruses don't have guardrails. Viruses will consume, take till they die. Till you die, until they die. We both going out, but they gonna make sure that your ass is going out for sure. So we have to protect ourselves from the virus. We have to rid ourselves of the virus of capitalism before it literally kills us, because it's killed so many of us. I mean, how many people have we seen die for extremely preventable causes or extremely treatable problems? All these fucking organizations, all these millions and billions and trillions of dollars floating around, and they still fail so miserably to coordinate, despite all the resources that they continuously extract from us on a constant basis. It's a goddamn shame that in 2026, right, we still have a government that can't not shut down, that can't figure out the budget, that can't figure out how to fucking work interdependently with synergy to improve our lives. You know why? Because that's not their goal. Our government system has been corrupted since the beginning. This constitution shit, they never gave a fuck about that shit. They prayed to the Lord. Yes, I'm going to fucking totally schmotally uphold this shit. They never do that shit. They trample over our rights all the fucking time. Every time an American citizen is murdered by law enforcement, that's a Fifth Amendment violation. And they never talk about that on any of these major news media networks. And all this Minneapolis shit, where have they mentioned Fifth Amendment violation? In all these type of cases where that happens, the George Floyds and the fucking Sean Bills and the Breonna Taylors, the Amadou Diallos, the Oscar Grants, and all these constant situations where that has happened. Name me one time where they mention, oh yeah, Fifth Amendment, violation of the Fifth Amendment. They totally violate their Fifth Amendment. Never happens. Because these fools are so disjointed and don't even know their own constitution. How's little old me, who got a business degree, how do I know the Constitution more than these fuckers that literally studied and practice law? These fuckers that passed the bar exam. Motherfuckers like Obama, who are literally president of the Harvard Law Review. How the fuck I know your Constitution better than you? A motherfucker with a bachelor's in business administration. How the fuck I know your own shit better than you? And then how the fuck are you president and I'm in my mom's basement? How the fuck does that work? Wait, so you, the person who studied law, who passed the bar, who has the fucking law degree, who's worked in government, how the fuck you don't know your own constitution? How the fuck are you in a position of lawmaking and decision making and you don't know your own constitution? You trampled and stamped and pissed and shitted and vomited and spit on this constitution every single day, violating people's rights on a constant basis. So, that being said, yeah, I know I could be all over the place, but the fact of the matter is we have this suboptimal society that fails to create a well-functioning society, that fails to improve constantly. All this propaganda all around us, all this bullshit all around us. I've never seen a real commercial that was real about the product or service they were promoting, because we live in what's called the scam capital, the cat capital of the world, the divided states of corporations. And as a result, we're 85 seconds to midnight. So in order for us to solve this problem, we have to recognize the issue of capitalism. We have to recognize that we're not going to vote our way out of this. We're not going to vote Democrat or Republican, and the Democrat or Republican is going to just fix the issue. We have to be strategic. We actually have to understand what's at stake and how we can actually address these issues pragmatically, effectively, and efficiently. And then we have to work interdependently with synergy to implement these solutions. So go to altanara.com, check it out. I'm still constantly working on it. I'm about to continue working on this progression system, and then everything is going to make sense to y'all in the very near future. Make sure you sign up to the Discord, because this is going to be the platform I'm going to utilize for us to change the world. And we're going to make it happen. We're going to drag humanity kicking and screaming into the future, no matter what, because our survival is at stake here. Not just our survival, but our ability to create an actually well functioning society for ourselves where we can live peacefully and harmoniously and not have to fear the next person because you don't know what their true intentions are. We need to all agree that our intention is to create a society that prioritizes our collective survival and our well-being. Because if not, then what the fuck is the point? What the fuck is the point of even having a society if that's not the goal? That's why I do this. Because despite all the bullshit, I love y'all. That's why I put up with all that dumb shit on TikTok for all them years. I mean, hating it every day. And mind you, I love doing social media. I love doing lives. I enjoy it. That's why I have a passion. That's why I'm so consistent. That's why I treat it like a job. Because it basically is. That's why I'm so consistent at the shit. That's why I don't give a fuck about what these haters say. That's why I had to get off of TikTok because it made it so I couldn't even enjoy doing this shit. I hated it because I knew I was gonna every single day I would do a live. I knew I was gonna get inundated with some bullshit. I knew that the platform was gonna be on some bullshit. I know these haters are gonna be on some bullshit. That all it would take is me saying, "Hey, fuck this hater," and now you were bullied, and now I can't fucking reach people. Fuck all that. That's why I'm off that. Any of these platforms that engage in these dark patterns, fuck them. That's why I'm here on Substack, and that's why, fuck yeah, I'ma just grind it out. Even if I only have 5 viewers, I don't care. I'd rather have 5 viewers and be able to talk freely than to have 35 viewers and I'm getting hit with violations and suspensions and all these dark ass patterns, being on the verge of fucking getting banned, actually getting banned, and having to beg and please, 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 please take me back. Fuck that. I know when I'm not wanted. So fuck TikTok, they can suck my dick. All right. So for those of y'all who got a Valentine's Day tonight, good luck to y'all. But some advice, some unsolicited advice to any and everybody out there concerning Valentine's Day and love and all that shit. First of all, have some self-respect. Do not enter a relationship if you don't have self-love and self-respect. Because if you don't have either of these things, I can't comprehend how you could possibly think you can have a healthy and happy relationship. Being a bitch ass simp and a picky because you're gonna end up with a fucking loser who's gonna manipulate you and use you for everything you have. It's gonna be a contentious situation. It's inevitably gonna fail. If you have to, get you some therapy. I know that that's not the easiest thing to access nowadays, that now the therapists are fucking good at their jobs and that the fucking field of therapy still needs some work to grow. But it's not worth it. It's not worth it being in a relationship with somebody who doesn't prioritize your well-being. It's just like the situation with TikTok I just went through. TikTok showed me consistently that they hate me, that they do not want me on their platform. That's why they kept engaging in these dark patterns. So that's why I had to just recognize, you know what? They don't want me there. I'm just there's no point in me keep trying. There's no point in me constantly trying to appeal to a fucking website that doesn't want me on it. So I need to get the fuck up off of there. Because there's no future here. What's the point of me being on this fucking website if I can't grow and build and evolve? They allowing all these other minor fuckers to build their fucking platforms, their fan bases. But TikTok steady fucking shutting me down. They constantly hit me with violations. They suspended me for 7 days at a time. Clearly, they don't want me on their platform. At some point, I had to get it through my head. You know what? This is a waste of time. This doesn't work. And in the same way, if you're with someone, whatever the fuck you're into, guy, girl, some transgender, whatever your fucking preference is, that's a consenting adult, specifically. A consenting adult human. being. Let me be super duper clear because we got a lot of fucking weirdos out here. Look at the list of paraphilias, people into all types of shit. But if you're somebody who is into whatever you're into, as long as they're a consenting adult, human being, you got to make sure that you have your self-respect and your priorities in check. You got to have real strong standards for yourself, that you don't allow somebody to put their hands on you, to talk to you in any kind of way, to gaslight you, to use you and abuse you and play with your fucking mind, because that's never going to end well. It's never going to end well. I don't care if she got that fatty or if he got that whatever the fuck, or if whatever the fuck has that whatever the fuck that you like so much. It's not worth it if they are not prioritizing your collective well-being and vice versa. Okay? And last but not least, wrap it the fuck up. Stop fucking bringing loonies into the world when you are a loony. Like, let's not get off with the loony shit, all right? So anyway, off9.com, off9.com. All right. Thank y'all for coming through. This has been yet another incredible episode of the No Cap Zone, where we have a strict ass dress code. Not get the hell off with that cap and shit. The only kind of cap that we are cool with is your thinking cap. Otherwise, shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of my face while I slap the shit out you. All right. All I care about is the truth, the facts, the data, information, the evidence, the statistics, things that can actually be demonstrated in real life, in real time, while we're alive, while we're sane, while we're of sound mind. Because otherwise, I don't know what the hell these goofies are talking about, and they don't know what the fuck they talking about, which is why we got to talk about it. So, like I said, stay smooth. Have some self-respect. Stop being a bitch-ass simp and a pick-me for these lame-ass, loser-ass narco psychos out here. Get the fuck up off your knees. Stand on your own. Love yourself. Because I'm telling you right now, I can tell you from experience, it's better to be lonely than to be with somebody who don't love you, who don't want you. It is very, very, very heartbreaking when you're spending all your time and your energy on somebody who don't feel the same way about you. So why waste your time? Don't do it. All right, I'm going to be lonely tonight. And you know what? It's cool. I mean, it's not cool, but it's cool because I know I'm doing the right thing. I know I'm fighting for the right purpose. Since ain't nobody else gonna do it, all these motherfuckers out here with all this money and all this resources and all this ability and capability, they ain't doing shit. So I'm gonna get back to fucking building this infrastructure, and I can't wait to show y'all what I'm about, because this is how we're gonna change the world. Like I said, off9.com. All right, holla back at your motherfucking boy, man. Let's bring some sense to this crazy ass world once and for all, please.